Today we're going to take a look at my little one's mini quad. There's something going on with the clutch. Let's check it out. Here's the beast of a machine. Here's the particular pedal that I modified, and actually it originally had a thumb throttle built into it. I took out the thumb controller here because it was still a bit too tricky to operate. For my little one, I attached the throttle cable to a pedal. Basically, I used a door hinge and a couple of brackets, and now she can use it with a limiter set by a screw. The throttle is actually controlled up here by this screw, but now you can just adjust and remove it down here as well, and then she can simply accelerate with her foot. Yeah, here's the cable starter, and there have already been a few problems with it. For example, this driver here, it wasn't quite straight. There were some plastic shavings inside, and when I tried to bend it apart a bit, it broke. Unlucky, but I just meticulously cut one out of a very sturdy iron bracket and then carefully bent it together a little bit, which was quite a challenging task to accomplish. It works well again now, but it hasn't completely fixed the original problem, or rather, there was a second significant issue. The entire thing just absolutely wouldn't start at all. I can show a short video about that. Exactly, and yes, the primary reason for that, let me just show you a clear picture, was that deep inside the recoil starter mechanism there was this crucial driver, or more precisely the mounting point for the essential spring, and it unfortunately broke completely off. Because of this significant breakage, the spring then straightened itself out entirely, and once a certain amount of rotational torque or pulling force, whatever specific term you prefer to call it, was ultimately reached, it simply spun freely along without engaging. Since the spring is inherently under a considerable amount of tension, you didn't really notice this issue during the initial few pulls of the starter cord. It was only when you pulled the cord out far and the spring was really under tension that it just spun freely, and that's why it couldn't turn. Now, let's delve into the current predicament we're facing. It appears that the clutch mechanism is somehow completely stuck. You can distinctly feel this issue when you attempt to push the clutch lever even slightly. It offers significant resistance, making it incredibly difficult to move, and consequently, the chain itself is also immobilized. This suggests that the clutch is already engaged, even when it shouldn't be. Inside this system, there's a centrifugal clutch, a fascinating piece of engineering that I'm about to disassemble. I'll be taking it apart in just a moment to get a closer look, as it's quite dirty, and frankly, I'm eager to discover precisely what's happening within its intricate workings. Our first step in this diagnostic process is to carefully remove the chain guard located right here. This guard is secured by just 2 screws, which fortunately come off with relative ease. As you can observe, they are quite grimy and even a bit scorched, indicating some wear and tear. With the chain guard now out of the way, we can immediately see the core of the problem. One of the crucial springs is completely snapped. The remaining pieces of this broken spring should still be lodged in there somewhere. Indeed, I can spot a small fragment. Let's carefully pull it out so we can gain a clearer view of the entire assembly. So, as you can clearly see here, there are typically 3 springs that are designed to hold these weights, often referred to as shoes, in their proper position. At a certain rotational speed, these weights are supposed to move outward due to centrifugal force engaging the clutch. However, one of these essential springs is now conspicuously absent. Oh, I just broke it again while trying to manipulate it, but that's alright, it was already broken anyway. You can distinctly see it here. There are 3 spring attachment points, and we can still observe 2 intact springs, but there should absolutely be a third one, which is clearly broken off. That particular spring's primary function is to pull this shoe inward, ensuring it disengages properly, but it's also exhibiting some sticking behavior. There's still a piece of the old, fractured spring stubbornly stuck somewhere within the mechanism. I can definitely see another piece lodged further down there, and yet another fragment is nestled in here. Let's meticulously check if there's anything else remaining inside this assembly, or if that accounts for all the broken bits. It looks like that might indeed be the rest of it. There's just a rounded section that clips into place up there, so there shouldn't be any other stray pieces. However, a concerning observation
is the presence of some metallic shavings here, which indicates that something has been scraping, and that's obviously not a desirable situation for any mechanical component. Alright, my next course of action will be to acquire a replacement spring and install it. In fact, I've already anticipated this need and ordered another spring, so I have it readily available right here. Now the task is to carefully install it. So it goes into this slot here, or more precisely, it's inserted in this specific orientation, and then it hooks securely into place up here and down here onto this small pin. One more critical observation. I've just noticed that this entire mechanism isn't moving smoothly at all, which is a significant concern. I've now also removed the other spring to better assess the movement. This is how it's supposed to function. The spring holds the components together, and then, with sufficient rotational force, it moves outward and engages the clutch. But this particular shoe isn't moving freely whatsoever. I absolutely need to investigate why it's not functioning correctly, whether something is physically stuck inside, or what exactly is going on. I'm not entirely certain at this moment. However, my initial assessment suggests that this spring might simply be too tight, because this shoe stubbornly refuses to move when you attempt to push it away from the adjacent one. If you observe closely here, you can clearly see that once you relieve some of the pressure on it, it immediately begins to move again and operates with perfect smoothness. Therefore, my plan is to try and slightly reduce the tension on this spring, and then hopefully it should function perfectly once more.
I simply pulled out the very top coil a little bit, so now the spring is approximately 1 to 2 millimeters longer than before, and I sincerely hope that this adjustment has relieved some of the previous tension. The overall travel is now a bit longer, so let us carefully see if it functions correctly once again. It's successfully installed now. It could have been perhaps just 1 millimeter shorter, but there's definitely still more than enough tension here, and this particular part now moves smoothly and freely again. So, now that the spring is fully installed and securely in place, and everything spins freely and smoothly again, just a little bit of friction-reducing treatment applied to ensure optimal performance, I'm going to give it another comprehensive try. I sincerely hope that you thoroughly enjoyed watching this video. In the comment section below, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button to stay updated with future content. And with that, I'll be looking forward to seeing you all again next time in the next video.